You've been telling investors here that so far the impact on Freeport has been pretty muted, but I want to ask you where you are seeing it, even if it is subtle so far.
The price of copper.
That's less subtle.
That's not subtle at all. The price of copper's dropped roughly 10%. Copper suffered from the tariffs and the trade war beginning in June 2018. And then with the signing of the first step of the China-U.S. trade situation, copper prices responded positively. And then this took the legs out from under it. So that's the one thing. And copper inventories are building up, which is not surprising because of the extent of the shutdown of industry within China. So you have inventories in Shanghai, inventories on the London Metal Exchange rising after long periods of dropping inventories. But our own, I just reviewed this last week, our own supply chain issues are not significant now, but there's uncertainty as to what this will do. The news today about it spread to Europe, so we're just being prepared, and we don't have certainty about how long this will last. Hopefully, it'll be short-lived because of the poor people that are exposed to it.
If it does start to have an impact, if it becomes more severe, you said you're watching carefully. Where along your supply chain would you expect to see it? Where's the first bottleneck or the first problem that you really need to look out for?
Well, there's concentrate shipments from our operations in South America and some in Indonesia. Over the years, we've maintained a diversity of customers. So our biggest customers are in Japan. We have customers in Korea and the Philippines. So we have some protection, and we've been the world's largest concentrate marketer. We've had these relationships for decades. We've helped them when they have needs. They help us. So that, and then it could spill over into parts for our maintenance programs. I spoke with the CEO of Caterpillar, and his plants in China are operating, but everybody's on edge and taking this very seriously and the uncertainty around it.
I want to move on to talk about your outlook for M&A, or I guess lack of outlook for M&A right now. I know you were just saying to investors that now is not the time for Freeport to consider large-scale M&A. Mark Bristow, though, the CEO of Barrick Gold, has been open that he likes copper and that your company interests him. Maybe in full, maybe in part. He said it's very conceptual at this point. So I just wanted to ask you if even conceptually you could envision some sort of deal or partnership with Barrick at some point in the future that would make sense.
I don't think I'd want to be definitive about that right now. I'll say a couple of things. First of all, we don't need to be distracted with talk about M&A right now. We need to be focused on executing our plan, which will result in a doubling of our cash flows in a relatively short period of time. And during that time, copper markets could improve. So Freeport shareholders could have the prospects, the almost certainty of being better situated in 2-3 years from now. And as I talk to our shareholders, that's what they want us to do. The price is just too cheap now to talk about doing a deal. And then there is the other issue of the differences of objectives of copper investors and gold investors. From 1989, when FCX had its IPO, to 2007, when we did the Phelps Dodge acquisition, Freeport was a single asset company that was 2/3 copper and 1/3 gold. And we had a challenge in dealing with investors because gold investors were looking for an exposure and objectives that differed from base metal investors. We could never get a gold multiple on our gold production at Grasberg, even though it was the largest gold mine in the world. And then with base metal investors, we had a premium multiple, and that made it difficult for us to track investors when they could see similarly situated companies at a more attractive valuation. So it's a challenge in mixing the two.
I mean, I guess the flip side of that, and this is this idea has been around for ages, right, would be that even a three-way tie-up, a Barrick-Newmont-Freeport tie-up, I guess would be the logical trifecta, would create a sort of BHP of North America. You'd have gold, you'd have copper, you'd have your natural hedge. Does that conceptually appeal to your ambition in any way, that idea?
It wouldn't be a BHP. I mean, it's a different asset mix and so forth and so forth. So I think the right thing for us to say right at this point in time is to be focused. That's what our partners in Indonesia want us to be. They're interested in being a stability in this deal that we cut. We don't need to be mixing things up with speculation about what might happen.
Any talks? Have you had talks with Mark Bristow about this?
I've gotten to know Mark this past year. I met him, but I didn't know him until this past year when he joined ICMM and we worked together. And we've had general conversations about the industry, but I've not heard any proposals of anything.
All right. The other question that comes up all the time, which you probably also are not keen to talk about as much as we do, is the question of when you're going to retire. When are you going to retire?
Well, last year at this conference, I noted that I was 6 months younger than Donald Trump. He's running for a second term. There are 4 people in the U.S. running for president who are older than me, and Elizabeth Warren's roughly my age. So, I'm very invested in this company. We've been through so much. We're on the verge of overcoming some real adversity that spanned a number of years. And I've got a great team of people that work in our company. It's really enjoyable. We have great morale, and we have success within our reach. And I want to be here and be part of that success. Fortunately, my health is good. I still travel, a lot. I'm active, and I enjoy working with our people. And this past year has been the happiest year that I've had in a number of years. So I'm not ready to walk away from it.